Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andrea Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
It's going fine, John. It has been a very funny week news-wise. I mean, it's been like, oh my God, the memes,
Yeah.
just I mean, you know, when you disrupt something with Black people, we do know how to come out and make our presence known in so many ways.
Yeah,
It
we
is
sure
unbelievable.
do.
Um, I
Um,
mean, it's been a very interesting week, not just for Ohio democracy, ongoing issues regarding democracy. I won't mention his name, but he's 45, and just other stuff. So I mean, it's just been a very, and it's only the middle of the week. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so
yeah. And on today's show, we also have a special guest. It's Alice Frazier, the event director for It's Commonly Jazz. How's it going, Alice?
It's going well. Thank you.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on. Now, before we get into the main topic for It's Commonly Jazz, I believe Andrea has some chocolate news for us. So, what is the chocolate news of the week, Andrea?
oh, you know what? I wish I had some chocolate syrup right now to drip on the chocolate news because it's so delicious. It's unbelievable. And it's very rare that I say that. But anyway, I'm going to start off with what Ohio did, resoundingly said no to issue one. Now, for
Good.
those who don't know what issue one is, the powers that be had proposed to change, had proposed a constitutional amendment that would have required 60% of the vote to pass rather than 50% plus one votes that's currently required to put something on constitutional amendment on the ballot. And basically, this was an attempt in this special August election to do it in the runaround of the constitutional amendment regarding reproductive rights in Ohio that's going to be on the ballot in November. And the powers that be hoped that if Ohio had said yes, they could just rip it off the ballot and no one would have a say. But I think the GOP, the Ohio GOP, has a problem. They keep doing stuff with blinders on, and they're seeing their big picture, but they're not seeing the world's big picture because it was more than just stopping one issue regarding what they want to do, because they wanted to change a 100-year precedent of how people have a voice of putting something on the ballot regarding the Ohio Constitution. And last night, 50, I think it was 57%. 57% of those who voted between early voting and day of voting said no, and 43% said yes. 1.6 million Ohioans came out and voted,
That's
which
amazing.
never happens. I mean, this is usually you're hoping to get what, 20%, 30%, up to 30% of people turning out for a special election. Maybe
Yeah.
you only get 15% locally. This time around, folks came out in droves. And it was interesting as I watched the interactive map, as the early votes, first numbers released, the no votes led by 64%, the yes votes, I think it was like 30%. And then as more votes came in, you saw the map starting to gray in, but the urban centers with plus their suburbs held the yes vote. Now, mind you, in those counties that went gray, because the majority said yes, but there were enough numbers of those gray areas that said no, that
Hmm.
added to the grand total. So I think where the GOP counted on their base, their rural base, to come out for them, they've ticked off young women. They ticked off other organizations who may want to put an initiative on the ballot. They were so focused on stopping one issue that they didn't look to the future of other issues that may need citizens to step up, gather signatures to put something on the ballot to get an official yes or no vote. But I think what turned the tide was that one meme that came out on Twitter that resonated with a lot of people. Did you see that meme, John? Then you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The one with Ohio State and Michigan.
Yep.
And Ohio State was leading, and Michigan had 41 points. But they said under issue 1, if passes, Michigan would win. Now you know that upset so many people just with that alone. I think that did more help for saying no than the yes. So
Yeah.
but
And also I've been like on Twitter all day, and it's just funny seeing all these videos and memes and stuff. It's just like it's very entertaining. I think I was telling you before the show about Frank LaRose, and someone commented Frank LaRose on is a campaign. It's just someone flying a drone and immediately crashing into a truck. So just stuff like that.
I mean, it's interesting how many people were interested in watching, how much people were watching Ohio on this issue. And I think the GOP nationally doesn't have a grasp on how angry people are with what the Supreme Court did.
Yeah.
And how what was a GOP issue has now become a Democrat issue.
Oh yeah.
And it's unbelievable. But anyway, I'm going to move on because we got a lot more good stuff. So, next up, 45.
Oh yeah.
You know what? You know how people say, do as I do, don't do as I say, or something like that?
Yeah.
Trump doesn't understand that.
No, he doesn't.
I for a man who has such bravado, such egos, such confidence in his own delusional imagery of what history and what the world should be, he doesn't know how to shut up.
No, he does not.
And I think as more and more people realize, one, how many court cases he has going on right now, and he's still got one more indictment to get through if it does occur. I hate to be in his legal shoes right now. I hate to be his lawyer, but several things happen. One, he on Judge Chutkan, is that her name? Chutkan?
Yeah.
She has set a hearing on Friday to decide what evidence can be publicly disclosed and not disclosed. And I think through that, this comes as a result of the special prosecutors asking for a protective order of the evidence in the case against 45. And also in reaction to the fact that Trump, what do we do? Is it tweeted, x-rayed, posted? Well, I'm just saying posted. That if you come after me, I'm coming after you.
Yeah.
Now, his team tried to smooth it over. Oh, no, he didn't mean this. It meant that. You take it at face value. And basically, the prosecutor said, we need to protect ourselves. We need this. And so then he's been talking bad about the judge, saying he can't get a good jury. He won't have a good case in DC. People are against him, blah, blah, blah. The more he opens his mouth, the more the damage he does to his cases.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And so we're going to see what happens on Friday, see what the judge is going to issue in this, quote, protective order. I know the response was ludicrous on what they were trying to do. And from one political pundit said that Trump wants to try all of his cases in chaos and in the news. So that way he taints the jury pool across the country on all these cases. And right now, only one judge is buying his bullshit. Other judges are like, no. And he's been warned to watch his mouth. He's been warned not to say certain things. And, he said in his speech campaign someplace, he says, I'm going to talk if I want to. I'm going to say what I want to. And you know what? One time he's going to overstep and he's going to find himself in jail because he can't keep his mouth shut. And someone's going to have to spank him and spank him hard. I think that's what's going to happen. So where everyone wants to see him behind bars in an orange jumpsuit, the more he talks, the more that's going to happen. Because either or he'll be placed under house arrest with no access to a phone, a cell phone, a TV, a computer, nothing. He won't be able to do anything. And I think he's going to have to get a rude awakening. You know, and everyone's like, oh, foul. No, he was told to shut up. Everyone who's faced the judge knows when to speak and when not to speak. He's just going to learn the hard way. He's hard-headed. Anyway, I think the other problem he has is buried deep in the indictment for the January 6th issues and trying to overturn the election was a memo that details the fake elector plot to overturn the 2020 election. Now, some people said that his legal defenders could argue that it was just a memo. It really didn't happen, but it did. And the memo was written by a trusted insider of his group. And I think it was written by a Wisconsin lawyer, and this Wisconsin lawyer, Kenneth Chesbrough, whose home has been raided by the FBI, by the way, wrote this memo. And I think he's co-conspirator number 5 in the indictment. And this is part of the discovery of what's going on in that indictment. So the memo proposes the groups of electors in 6 key states, which did happen, that they should meet and cast fake votes for Trump to try and change the outcome. And the memo also recognizes that Trump did know that he did not win. And went with trying to call people to find votes. And then when that didn't happen, try to overturn it. And, threaten Mike Pence. Mike Pence is coming out against him now. I think everyone, as this gets more and more real with indictments, more and more co-conspirators are like, oh, I'm saving myself. And they're speaking up. And I think the more those who testify in this court case, and I hope it's televised, the more we will see what really happened, and the more people will see the truth about Donald Trump. And everyone who believed in him would be like, okay, you need to go. So, and I think the senators and Congress people who supported this issue, I think they're in a world of trouble too. They just don't recognize it yet. So this is the beginning. This is the beginning. It's a long, painful process, but it's the beginning. So there's that. So that's what's going on in the world of, what? I've been trying to come up with a soap opera title, and I can't come up with one yet.
The rise and fall of 45.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, or trumped, trump card.
I mean, we're just gonna have to start naming the segment as Trump turns, or as Trump's endless night, or something. We're gonna have to come up with something, so I'll have something to say next week.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come up with a soap opera name.
But real quick though, it's like just 2 things. First of all, I can't wait till someone makes a biopic about this. Like I know there's eventually going to be a Trump biopic. That's already guaranteed. And I don't know, someone's going to do the rights to this, and I hope it's a great director. And I hope it's going to be a great movie. Because I would be interested who's going to be playing Trump. They got Brendan Gleeson to play Trump on. I'm trying to think what series that was. I think it was it was some series on Showtime. It was focusing on Comey, but they got Brendan Gleeson to play Trump. He was really good in it. But anyway, past that, I think the last remaining supporters of Trump, they're going to be Trump till they die. I don't think they're going to, because it's just Trump has just, I guess, infected their brain so much that it's just like, and Trump's just constantly saying it's a witch hunt. His supporters are just going to believe that. And I think early election, didn't he say like he could shoot a man on Fifth Avenue and they still love him? There's just always going to be those type of people.
There's going to be a core, but I think I think very slowly I would say some of the core is slowly slipping away.
Yeah.
And some of the core said they're going to stick with him. And I think because they see certain things that happen in their lives is every day, they see it in Trump, they're going to go with him.
Yeah.
Where
Trump's
we
like,
don't see certain things like that in our lives, we're like, how dare, I can't believe
yeah.
this is happening. So I think it's kind of sad, but it's kind of like the way of the Tea Party. We just have to ride that wave
Yeah.
until it goes away,
Yeah.
and then something else will occur. I mean, it's kind of like we just have to ride it out.
Yeah, exactly.
And on top of that, because of the change in demographic in the country is scaring a lot of people. They have jumped on this Trump bandwagon because of that.
Right.
Obama scared them in a way they never expected to be scared.
Right.
And as the generational shift changes, the demographics changes, it's scaring them even more.
Right.
And I think it's kind of sad that they're scared that way. But stuff happens.
Yeah, stuff happens. True.
But anyway, I'm almost done. You know more about the Tory Lanez received 10-year prison sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. I don't remember this.
Well, it happened a while ago. It happened in 2020.
Oh,
Yeah, it happened way the inciting incident happened way back in 2020. So it happened a while ago, which is a constant reminder of how long these court cases take. But if I remember correctly, it was at someone's house. I think it was like Kylie Jenner's house that the incident happened. Um,
oh,
yeah, it happened a while ago, back in 2020. And then there was this like so much time had passed, and like, well, I'm trying to actually remember the whole incident, but there was an argument, and I know the rapper, he was arrested in Hollywood Hills and stuff, and for a while, like nothing was happening about it. It was like Megan Thee Stallion was just like trying to, just say it's like, hey, I got shot, and it's like no one's doing this about this. And it took a while. I think it took like several months for Linez Lanes to be officially charged with assault. So
because I think it was more of it was one of those he said, she said things, and they were able to
yeah, yeah,
finally. But also it was 2020 at the height of the pandemic.
yeah, right.
Certain things were not being taken care of because it was the height of the pandemic.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, right. And
um,
then it's just like Lane's fans were just defending him, just saying, "Oh no, it's like you said, it was a he said, she said situation." And it's just like, well, he makes good music, so that's all that matters, that old argument and stuff. But I'm just glad that there's finally justice, because that really traumatized Megan Thee Stallion. So I'm just glad, there's resolution. I'm just glad there's justice.
yes, yes. And speaking of uh, justice, everyone has seen a certain form of, can we say justice? That's it,
Yeah,
justice.
yeah, we can say
Um,
justice.
on the posts, social media posts, the memes, the chair being inserted in pictures,
Hmm.
paintings,
Hmm.
the songs, the raps, the
uh,
poems, I know I've sent a couple of things, the theme of good times, where they, it's just interesting of how the Montgomery Brawl has erupted over just a boat was coming in, a ferry boat was coming in, could not dock. For 45 minutes, they're asking a pontoon boat owner to move his boat just move it up just a little bit so the ferry could dock, let 225 people off this boat. They wouldn't respond. One of the staff members gets out of the boat, goes over, talk to the boat owner, and then gently pushes the boat 3 feet so the ferry could dock. Next thing you know, the boat owner jumps out, confronts the ferry boat worker, the first mate, and they start beating him up.
Yeah.
He sends up the bat signal, which I forgot throwing up a hat was the bat signal. He sends up the bat signal. Next thing you know, folks are coming in to help him out. And then more folks coming in. The bros come in to confront. And then the aunties come in to take care of the women who were jumping in the fray. And then you have the one man, which some memes have deemed him as uncle, you picking up a folding chair and hitting people over the head with it. And then you have the folks standing above where the melee went on, capturing everything on video. You see in people's videos, folks holding cell phone cameras out, capturing everything. So when the police arrive and arrest everybody, they have proof of who started what. And I don't know what to say. I mean, one, too many people have too much time on their hand taking advantage of this.
Yeah.
Two, I have seen, let's see, I said Good Times. Maya Angelou's poem, I Rise, has been changed to I Rise, the Brawl. One woman was just singing along, made up some words about this. There have been memes of chairs being inserted everywhere on people. Even there is a chair that is on display either in the Smithsonian or the African American chair. I think it's Shirley Chisholm's chair is
Right.
in a display. And they said, look, this melee is so prominent already. They already have the chair on display, and it's her folding chair. Memes of Shirley Chisholm, her famous saying about, that they won't offer you a seat, like bring your own chair. Guy got his own chair. So it is the boat owner and two other men have been charged with assault in the incident. The Montgomery Police Chief, Darrell J. Albert, announced the assault charges against the three men, all who are not from Montgomery, Alabama. They are from Selma. And he was asked if they were going to file any charges because it was a racially motivated charge. He said not yet. He didn't think that would happen. But then again, as people continue to look at the situation in the video, it almost could be said the guys jumped the black guy for touching his boat.
Yeah.
And it could be taken that way than just a regular drunk people getting upset and assault the guy, the messenger. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But things have hit a nerve when you got folks all over the place, including celebrities, news people, all over Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, thread, that memes and everything's going on. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out.
Oh yeah. It definitely should.
And so, last but not least, a little sad, Felicia Rashad is stepping down as Dean of Howard University's Chadwick A. Boseman College of Fine Arts. She will step down at the end of her term following the 2023-24 academic year. And it's kind of sad that the news was announced that she's going to step aside, but at the same time, one, she is an alumnus who returned to her school to help reestablish the College of Fine Arts, which she graduated from, and restore its rightful place as the center of arts and creativity at Howard University. Not only did she increase the art program, they also got a $5.4 million donation from Netflix, which is major. So I think she's done a lot to raise the ball of the fine arts program, to make it what it was once again, because some of the arts alumni of the program is Chadwick Boseman, who we know as Black Panther, Taraji P. Henson, and Roberta Flack. And also her sister, Debbie Allen, is an alumnus as well. Right. So just for dance. So, I mean, she's done a lot for her alma mater, and I think it was a labor of love, but she's probably itching to get back before the camera again too. So that's probably the reason why she's stepping down, because she can still get some work.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And or her sister is producing something that she wants her to participate in. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, what she does next after this. But I think it's fantastic that she has done a lot to be a leader within the fine arts community, especially at Howard University. And that is all the chocolate news for today.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea. Appreciate all that good chocolate news. And I want to move into our main topic. I want to reintroduce Alice Frazier, the event director for It's Commonly Jazz. How's it going, Alice?
It is going well. It is August, so that means jazz season is back.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, I'm biased.
We love
I
our jazz fans, no problem.
well, I'm not a big jazz person, but can you tell me about It's Commonly Jazz?
It's Commonly Jazz is having its 39th jazz season. It is the longest running free jazz summer series here in the greater Cincinnati area. It started at the old Swifton Commons. It was a promotion to have artists come, on a Thursday night, midweek, so that they could go shopping after they had some great music. That's how Taylor Swift got started. That's how so many of our fabulous musicians that you know now on the scene got started, like William Mennefield. He started, I think it was like 10 or 11 years old. He got to play during intermission on the piano, and he's now leading a jazz program, I believe, at the University of Iowa. So jazz is strong. We've got strong jazz roots here in Cincinnati. We've got a few of the inductees in the Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame that are part of our lineup this year. And so for years, we have kept jazz alive in the city. And this year, we are showcasing the phenomenal talent of women jazz artists and the legacy of people like Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan, and how women today are remembering them and then showing what they can do.
I'll have to say that the opening show was fabulous.
Oh my gosh. If you missed it, our grand finale, Camille Saba-Smith will be back. This phenomenal talent has a 5-octave range. And when they say she can control her voice, she can control her voice, and you enjoy the highs and the lows. So she'll be back for our grand finale with Lavinia Campbell, who is a veteran of the music scene. In fact, our grand finale is on the 31st, so it's a great way to kick off your Labor Day weekend. It's Lavinia with her big band. It's led by Mike Wade, and she has some tremendous special guests like Camille Saba-Smith and Deborah Hunter and Brenda Flowers. It's going to be a night to remember. And in between, we are celebrating and remembering the ladies of jazz, blues, and swing with this great talent, Missouri Moyo Ambaye. She's been here before, but she's coming back with a tremendous sound, and she's being accompanied by the Phil DeGreg Quartet. And then we move into our August 17th show with We Create Jazz Ensemble. We're going to be showing the young women artists like Jordan Pollard and Kayla Up the Grove on sax, and Angie Cole and Katie Carson. And they are bringing a veteran with them, Kathy Wade, who this city loves. She's going to bring her vocals. And then we are bringing from the Newport Jazz Festival and performing with the Berlin Orchestra, Camille Thurman. She is an amazing saxophone player. Wynton and Marsalis adores her. She's been on the Lincoln Music Center's orchestra, part of the house band. And there had been a 30-year drought for women to be part of that house band until Camille came along in 2018. So she changed things up there, and she's been rocking the world ever since. So you coming, Jordan? Mr. Reese?
You know what? I might have to make an appearance. You know what? Because you got me all excited because
I was like, I
I
just gave you a little flavor.
because to be honest with you, I really don't listen to jazz that much, and I really don't know that many jazz artists. You
Well,
know,
you know
so
what? I would just say it makes it for a great date night
okay,
or an
yeah.
early date night. Because I mean, there are so many couples who are there, and I mean, the folks come. I mean, there's places to sit, but folks come with their tents, with their chairs. They're, they are set up to eat and drink casually, and they just it's just a spread. They do a picnic,
Yeah.
or don't do a picnic, but they bring their chairs and their bottles of water or whatever, and there's food sold in the back. But I mean, it's for someone I grew up with. It's commonly jazz. Well, as I grew up with it started. I remember my mother would take me to It's Commonly Jazz at Swift and Commons when I was a teenager.
Oh, you go way back.
I
You
go
go
way
way
back.
back.
I go
Well,
way back.
I
Because my
remember I remember Swift and Commons when I was a kid, but
Mhm.
you know, I don't I think it was past its prime when I was a kid though.
It's Commonly Jazz was when, like, in the final few years of Swift and Commons, but it was you were in the middle of the mall. That I remember in my mind. I
Yeah,
remember
you're in
seeing
that courtyard. You're in the
in
courtyard.
in the courtyard area. Everyone bring out there, and at that time we wouldn't have the lawn chairs of today. We didn't have then. Everyone had those old folding chairs that would sit out on, and everyone would bring them. And then you would go shopping. I remember my mother loved going to this one store all the time looking for earrings. Or we go, that's when Mabley Crew was there, and we go into Mabley's. Now I'm going way back because I'm
You
going
are,
back.
because that precedes Elder Beerman.
Yeah, yes, it was. And actually, you know what that was? It was Elder Beerman. At that time, it went from Mabley Crew to Elder Beerman.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, that's the name too. Ooh, I'm going too far back. That's saying my age. But anyway, and then from there, it went to, didn't it go someplace else before Eden Park?
No, it's only been Swift and Commons or right there at Season Good Pavilion,
Okay.
right there in Eden Park. And fortunately, there's free parking at the Cincinnati Art Museum. And if you need to, and it's jam packed, on the 17th and the 24th, you can park at Playhouse in the Park. You can also ride the Metro. The Metro drops you right off at the top of the hill, right beyond the driveway for the art museum. And a lot of people just take the stairs and walk up from Gilbert Avenue. So
Mm-hmm.
parking is not a problem. We
No.
have backstage. We have not only Beyond Good, bringing salmon and rib tips and hot and mild Mets. We've got Brenda's homemade pound cake and King Me water and a
Ooh.
little freshly made lemonade and hibiscus tea. So this theme this year is called Jazz Feeds My Soul. We feed your ears, we feed your heart, and we definitely have what it takes to feed your stomach. So
We
we bring it all.
we
You
know
know what?
you had me have pound cake.
You know what? I didn't get it. I have the T-shirt from last year, from the last few years. I have the T-shirts, so I have to
Okay.
get this year's T-shirt because it's a new design and I like it.
Oh,
So
good. Yes, it the Jazz Feeds My Soul design was designed by a great local Black artist named Vernon Turner. He's been doing our designs, my gosh, probably close to 20 years now.
mhm.
So, as someone says, we've got a few fans who collect the artwork. It always reflects a bit of a theme. And Carolyn Wallace, we are just indebted to her. She's our creative founder. She started it back in 1985. Thanks to her, we've had some top notch artists that have debuted in Cincinnati. Thanks to her. Camille Thurman made her debut. Camille used to be part of the backup band for Beyonce. When she had her all women band, Camille was
Mhm.
part of that. So
Wow.
um,
I have to
Carolyn
say
has
this,
an ear for talent.
and I would say Cincinnati has a very eclectic history of music, whether bands who've gone on to greatness, and then local bands who have their own greatness for being sometimes better than the national bands performing. I mean, we have such eclectic talent that we have such a lot of live music venues around the city that showcase so much talent, whether you like rock or folk or blues or jazz or what have you. And I think what's interesting is the latest trend of more Black people getting into country music. That's an interesting sound. And then I just discovered a new band. They're not new. They've been around for called Ghost Town, and they are a blues jazz rock band.
Oh, nice.
They just dropped their latest album. Number one, the lead singer is gorgeous. But anyway, their sound is really bluesy, jazzy, but rock. And so
Right.
you start to see this huge mixture of everyone mixing genres to come up with something new and different. But I also like the fact that you stick to the tradition. But also, even with traditional jazz music, it's not all jazz music. I think what we heard last week was a wide range collection. She did Sting.
Yeah, she did Sting. Yes.
She did somebody, I forgot. She not only did Sting, she did somebody else as well.
She did a Rochelle Farrell tune that people recognized.
Yes.
Sting, she just did justice to. Oh my
I don't
God.
even know when someone's going to do Phyllis Hyman.
Camille can do that. And in fact, I've heard Camille do Phyllis Hyman.
Because I mean that Phyllis is, people don't talk about Phyllis. I know there's been talk about me, but she died before she grieved semi-greatness before greatness, because she had that range.
She did.
Range. But I mean, it's just.
Yeah. I worked with Phyllis.
Oh.
I got to do the music program for Miller Brewing. And a few weeks, she died 2 weeks after doing my program in Philadelphia. We brought her home.
Oh.
And that was quite a night. She was good.
She was very good. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, there's so much music out there, and I have a lot of jazz music that I don't even get a chance to listen to everything that I have. But it is, I'm looking forward to my Thursday nights.
Great. And you should know we even do a final Friday jazz set down at Finley Market.
That's right.
So, if you look, Mark Fields, who used to be with Ray Charles, is doing our August 25th night. He's a great trombone player. We've got on September 29th, Yemi Oyediran, who's great drummer. Yeah, he is amazing. I should call him Dr. Yemi. And then we're ending that series on October 27th with Josh Strange, who's a great vibraphone player, but he is so multifaceted and talented. He plays about 7 or 8 different instruments, and it's always a treat to see who he brings with him to close out the final Friday set. But we want to see you every Thursday in August.
I would just say that the final Fridays, because I remember I did a couple of final Fridays last year, and it was amazing how many people were turning out at Finley Market for that.
Yeah. And it's 6 to 8, just like it's 6 to 8 at Season Good. And it's a great way to kick off the weekend. And you're already downtown, parked, ride the streetcar up or leave from there and go to your next stop for the night. So jazz is everywhere. The sound of music by us.
It's wonderful.
That's great. Now, how much does this cost?
It's free.
It's free? Oh my goodness.
Free.
Wow. Okay.
So there's no charge.
Okay.
The only let's go like this. The only charge is what you buy at Final Fridays at the bar. That's it.
Gotcha.
It's the food that you decide to buy, and if you decide to get a t-shirt and become a jazz patron, so we can allow people to continue to have a seat at the park and hear free jazz.
Wow. Well,
You know what? That's
you
what I
know
have.
what? That's perfect. Sounds like a perfect date night. Times are hard. You can
That's
go
right.
and listen to some free jazz. You know what? It sounds good to me, man. Yeah,
And you know
I
what?
think I
There's,
will make an
you know what,
appearance.
John, and there are a lot of pet owners that bring their pets too.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't have to leave the dog behind. That sounds perfect. Oh my goodness.
There
Yeah.
are a number of pet owners, big and small. So
Yes, we
there
just
were
ask
people.
that you keep your animal on leash for the safety of all.
Oh, yeah, of course she's gonna be on the leash. I don't trust her that much.
You know, I knew you had a hit at Eden Park when I started seeing that one couple that brings their tent. I mean, literally a tent so they don't get eaten by the
Yeah,
bugs.
that's right.
It,
Now we do ask you, if you do that, you've got to know and hear us, um, that not many people do, and most people don't have to worry about bugs. I call it, use some peppermint oil in a spritz bottle. You'll be fine. Just keep it up on the hillside because we don't want to block the view of others. So you will not see any tents down on the stage area because we don't want to obstruct anyone's view.
I think one year, I know a couple years we have set. I have a friend who has a birthday at the end of the month, and
Uh-huh.
we have set up the birthday party at It's Commonly Jazz, bringing in tables and food, and we have a huge party going on. And people look at us, they're like, "You brought a table?" Yes. And then they start seeing them bring out the food and everything. They're like, "Oh my God, it's not. It's you know. I just say do what you want, but it's a great way for every Thursday to
And
relax."
there's so many connections that are made because people on both sides of the river attend. It's also like a family reunion for everyone who remembers Swifton Commons. They know that on Thursdays in August, you can see family and friends and make new friends who become like family.
And also, Fifth Third has been your longtime sponsor.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. For 35 years, Fifth Third Bank has been a loyal sponsor of It's Commonly Jazz because they see the power in bringing people together and how it makes a difference. So, you know how they like to say they like to make things Fifth Third better? They're like, well, It's Commonly Jazz fits the bill. We
And
help make things better. And on top of that, we've got a few others that have returned. Artswave has been a huge supporter for us over the years. Cincinnati Parks, we do it there, right there in Eden Park, but they've supported us along with the Urban League of Greater Cincinnati, Triversity. We also have African American Chamber, recognizing how, thanks to Carolyn, so many small, diverse businesses have been supported through this program. And then Fort Washington Investment Advisors, just to name a few. And then don't forget what the kids get to do. We have a hula hoop zone. It's called the Kid Family Zone. Hula hoops are made available. It's a play area for kids so that they have a good time, but then they get introduced to jazz. And we've got a few kids who we were their first taste of music, and they expect to be able to hang out every Thursday night in August and enjoy some great music and have some good fun on the hillside.
I like it when the babies get up and they start moving.
Or
You
they
know,
make their way down to the front of the stage and start
yeah, they
dancing
run down
and
to the stage,
performing.
or they're walking around and then they just start moving and everyone else is like, look, 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 you know. So it's a warm, family friendly but fun event for both, for everybody. And I think it's amazing that you don't hear of a sponsor like Fifth Third that sticks with something for as long as it has with It's Commonly Jazz. I mean, that's a feat that you don't hear about all that often. So
Yeah, we are grateful for them, and the community is, because it helps provide that foundation we need to come back year after year after year. And we have.
well, I'm looking forward to Thursday. Thank you, Alice, for joining us today. John?
Yeah, well, Alice, thank you so much for coming on, and thanks for, getting me interested in jazz. I never thought I would say that, but you know what? It's just like as it kept going on, it's like, oh yeah, sounds like the perfect date night. And you had me with pound cake, and then you told me it's free. I was just like, yep, I'm stopping by. I'm gonna see if I can get off work and go do a date night, because you know what? Times are hard. You know what? Money's tight, so be able to go to a free event, listen to some jazz, chill. It sounds perfect. It really does. And I'll put all the info in our podcast description, so all of our listeners can take a look at it, and and have a nice night.
Well, thank you so much. And just remember, if you need a reminder when and where, just go to itscommonlyjazz.com and the details will be right there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. And also, Andrea, thank you for sharing all the good chocolate news. It's always great.
It's hilarious. Truth is stranger than fiction. So it is my pleasure every week to just talk about what's happening, and we'll see what happens next for next week.
Oh, yeah. So remember, folks, you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.thecincinnatiherald.com, the Snatch newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. Our podcast is on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. In addition, the Cincinnati Herald is now accepting applications for an advertising representative. So please call or text our publisher, Walter White, at 513-680-7076 for more information. I'm John Alexander Reese.
And I'm Andria Carter.
And have a good day.